Welcome, fellow lushes. Come on in, pull up a bar stool, and enjoy some cocktails with Dimples and The Beard.
You're pretty romantic.
Nobody's ever accused me of being pretty romantic.
Well,
pretty, yes. Romantic, yes. But not pretty romantic.
Anybody that listened to what you just said.
Well, nobody's going to hear what I just said because I'm going to start the episode right now.
Can't argue with the fact that.
Yeah, they're not going to hear it. Welcome back to another episode of Cocktails with Dimples and The Beard, where we leave all the good shit on the cutting room floor because we're going to start a Patreon and charge you money for it.
The good shit.
No, we're not.
Well, I'm just going to open the tab right away.
Do you think we should? Do you think we should do
Nope.
a Patreon? No, you open that tavern right on up. Sorry, did I interfere with your plans?
No, the way you said, I was like, oh no, he wants to say something before I do.
No,
because once the tavern's open, now we
talk business. Right. That's what I was. Yeah, I was going to say. Do you think we should start a Patreon?
Well,
what do you people think?
Yeah, there you go. Leave a comment. You can leave a comment anywhere. Instagram, Facebook,
Instabook,
YouTube. Those are the big ones to give a comment to. We see those first. And obviously you can go to Facebook. You can go to X.
You already said Facebook. You said Instabook or Face Insta or something like that.
Look at me. Innovating.
Making new ones up. We should make our own social media platform. That's what we should do.
All right. There you go.
Shit, we got to come up with a name for that now.
Okay. Well,
ChatGPT. We need it. Anyway, where can we go? What was the last one you said?
X. And YouTube, because there are our friends and lovers.
The only people paying us these days.
They kind of love us. They are kind of our lovers.
Tube.
Are they not? We're in bed together.
I guess. We are. Yeah, we are. We are making money together. They're making a lot more than we are.
They kind of are.
But
they kind of are. And what are you going to do?
I think.
Uh-oh.
I do believe we're pretty close to hitting our first $1,000 with YouTube. So watch out.
Woo!
What do we spend on that podcast convention?
He meant 100,000.
No, I didn't. I meant 1,000
because he
1,000
circles it up.
Dollars.
You got to just add everything he says. Add 3 circles.
We should make a video.
3 circles.
3 circles. 0, 0, 0. We should make a video because I've seen these videos and they make good views. How much money I've made being a podcaster, and then they go through like all their on all their stats on YouTube and shit, and how much money it's turned into.
People want to watch that.
People do want to watch that because they want to know, right?
Okay, yeah. So it's an educational.
It's not an hour-long video. You do it in like 10 minutes. You know what I mean? You go through and so we had these many views.
Yeah.
And you show it to them, and then we could probably convince thousands of people that they do not want a podcast with that video alone.
Stop thinning out.
Do not think podcasting is going to get you rich unless your name is Bert Kreischer or Tom Segura, because it ain't. It's not.
No, not right off the bat. No, probably not.
We're not right off the bat. We're not right off the bat. We're 4 years and 4 months in.
That's great.
Yeah.
Donkulous.
We're going to celebrate a 5th anniversary in 2026.
That's crazy. Look at us go.
If we get there.
As we're soaring. So leave a comment.
You already did that part.
About a new subject.
Oh, leave a comment about what?
About how much you love us.
Who died today? Somebody famous died today.
Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys.
That's what it was. The Beach Boys. Yeah, I saw that.
Which, do like the Beach Boys, not love them to like dissect their albums and all that, but I enjoy this song. I've seen the Beach Boys.
We should do a podcast solely
on the Beach Boys?
About the Beach Boys.
Yes. What's your favorite album from the Beach Boys?
Do you think that Brian Wilson is now in Kokomo? I couldn't name you a Beach Boys album, but that's definitely my favorite song.
That's from the 80s too.
Bahama, come on, pretty mama. Demonetized. Sounded way too much like the actual song.
You sounded like the Beach. Well,
copyright infringement.
How about when you edit this, just take your vocals and go up a little bit. They're all.
Oh, you want me to try a falsetto?
Yeah, go.
Bermuda, Bahama, come on, pretty mama.
There you go. There you go.
I can't really hit a high note. I don't know.
We all can. Do they sound good?
Oh, they don't.
No. What is, again, another comment. What's your favorite Beach Boys song? Let's go.
Who the fuck do you think is watching this that
Beach Boy fans?
That's also enjoys the Beach Boys. If we get the most comments.
Wait. Who doesn't love the Beach Boys?
A lot. Anybody under 60.
Oh, you fucking.
Which is why you love them so much.
I do.
I don't.
I do. No, I don't love. What I really like. I do like them.
I think that's why we're in crisis. I think we're too old because we talk about old people shit, but old people don't watch podcasts, and young people think we're stupid. So,
well, that's okay. They can.
Yeah, young people hate us. They really do.
So, do we just start talking about young people shit?
No, I think we embrace our old people shit and hope that we can convince some old people to. We're never going to be cool to the young kids.
No, but if they continue to make fun of us because we talk about their shit and don't talk about it right,
we could get. We could get like.
Though we are right.
Well, our generation is much better. So,
you damn lazy kids.
What generation are you? The same generation as me? Are we both Gen Baby alphas?
I'm just Gen Cool.
Oh. Well, I just looked at all this shit the other day. Now I forgot what I was already. I don't know.
I'm trying to remember what when my kids were younger, when I'd say cool, they'd say, yeah, you're...
Cool was not a word for a while, was it?
Creepy, old, obsolete loser or something like that.
Cool's back, though.
Is it?
I think so. I don't know. It's cool.
Cool's always been cool.
My kid says slay, but if I try and say slay...
not so cool.
Not so slay. Not cool, not slay, not rad. I say rad. Rad's always been my word.
Well, rad, yeah. Is that back? Because rad was a word way back.
Yeah, rad was the 80s. No,
yeah,
I don't. Rad is... I mean... A lot of them words came back because of shows like Stranger Things, and right because they're Stranger Things,
that's a good point.
You know, because
they brought
some of the movies and shit that were 80s focused, they started to bring some of those words back.
I was saying rad all the time when I was riding my BMX bike.
I've said rad my entire life.
Yeah,
I never stopped saying rad. I'll never stop saying rad.
Hold true, buddy.
It's
hold strong.
It's a great word. Anyway, we got a comedian on tonight, a funny one, pretty rare for us. Just kidding. What a dick.
Wow.
What a dick.
Just going to say that. Thanks for beating me to it because they're all funny. They wouldn't be on if they're not funny.
I'm in a dick mood.
They would all... We don't have non-funny people on. Just the way it is.
We have us. Every episode,
have them on.
We're here.
We're on non-funny. We don't have it. That's why we bring on funny people.
I think I saw a comment on Spotify that talked about somebody wanted to watch or listen to an episode, but the host's drivel at the beginning was too much to take, and I couldn't. Like, thanks. Appreciate it. You're the best. We love all comments, so keep them coming.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I don't know what he was talking. I said, I don't know what you're talking about. We make perfect sense. We talk in complete sentences. None of our...
I listen back and I'm like, yep, that makes sense. Yep, that's good.
Yeah.
Would I change anything? Nope.
Well, I know how bad we are when I try to caption the reels and they can't figure out what the fuck we're saying because we're all over the fuck. It's just like... So I've stopped putting captions on reels for just you and me because we don't form complete sentences. We do a lot of, you get to like halfway through your sentence and you start something over, like start something different. It's bad. So we need to, we're not professional broadcasters is what I'm finding out. Well, I didn't really pay much attention before.
I didn't either. So,
but it is hard when I have to cut reels for just the two of us. Like, what the fuck am I going to do?
We stop and start.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't form a lot of complete thoughts. We tend to break in, and which is fine. You know, ChatGPT describes us as chaotic, and I think ChatGPT is right. We do have a very chaotic flow to this podcast.
With that at all. Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all.
I love chaos. Let's bring in the chaos. More chaos.
We're not even coordinated chaos. We're just plain chaos.
That hurt.
Oh, I apologize, but not.
No, not you. Me yelling.
Oh, I was going to say, I hope you don't think I'm going to apologize. You know, with all this happening and all this chaos, we could still know that we just don't keep a pretty lady waiting.
Oh, I didn't know if you saw it. You are a professional. So without further ado, Kylie Kaiser. All right. So,
all right. Well, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, little buddy.
Yeah. Traumatized right off the bat.
We don't want to wait around. I mean, you're used to it at this point, right?
Get right to it. Not anymore, thank God.
Well, but saying that, all your dating stories are going smooth now?
They are. I'm in a relationship now with somebody that seems to not fit the brand, so that's good.
Oh. Boo!
The jokes might get worse.
What is that?
We'll see.
Dating stories are so much more fun.
I know. My mental health couldn't take it anymore.
Right? I imagine it's rough on the streets of Austin trying to find normal people to date.
Oh, for sure. I feel like it's the most common thread of conversation in every women's bathroom at a bar. So,
so thank you for joining us, Kylie Kaiser, comedian.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you bet. We love talking to comedians, and we love that scene down there. We've had quite a few of the Texas comedians on, and we love it. Comedy. We love talking comedy. So
hell yeah. And y'all are in Wisconsin, right?
We are. Yeah.
Fun.
Ever been?
I have. I was actually oh my God, it just came to me. This whole time before this, I was trying to figure out where I was. So for a brief time, I did a little bit of like music management stuff, and I went on the road with an artist, and he played this like local festival there, and I could not think of the town, but it was Appleton.
Oh, Mile of Music?
Yes, that's the name of it. Thank you.
Wow, that is literally 5 minutes from us.
Oh shit. Yeah, I had a great time there. We were there for like a week. It was a lot of fun. Drank a lot.
It's a great...
You do drink a lot, but it has great music. Great.
It was fun.
Original.
It was very cool. Yeah.
Who's the artist?
Cool. His name is Nick Hickman.
Okay.
He does country music. It was like it was cool though, because that whole thing is set up for my understanding for like independent small artists.
Yep.
And it's all original music. There's no covers or anything like that. It's So
the people were very nice.
The artist that started it, his name is Corey Chisel, and he's an Appleton native.
Cool.
And so he started. I think are they on their 10th?
They had their 10th, I think, last year.
Their 10th anniversary. So
right.
Cool.
Brings in a lot of people.
Yeah.
So
it was busy.
The other thing in Appleton we have is a pretty good comedy club. So now that's more your speed. Skyline Comedy Club. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'd love to come back.
Ever did? We will definitely come see you.
Yeah, I stayed connected with a lot of random people that I met from there on like Facebook and stuff. So
nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that, making new friends as well from us.
Always. I have one thing about me, I'm not going to shut the fuck up. So it's easy.
Well, I did. We watched some other podcasts you've been on, and I heard you say something like that, and I'm like, that's perfect, because the last thing you want is a podcast guest who doesn't talk. So
yeah. If I talk too much, you guys just interrupt me. That's what I tell my podcast co-host. So, but she can't shut up either. So.
And speaking of, why don't you promote your podcast right away? As long as we.
Oh, yeah. So myself and Quinn Collins, she's another very funny comedian here in Austin. We have Responsibly Unhinged podcast. Essentially, we talk the shitty dating scene. We bring on a lot of other comedians, but we bring on some other like just interesting people too. But primarily, we bring on other comics, because who better to share their trauma than comedians? And we all know we're equally as hard to date, so we're part of the problem. And it's fun. So we branded the name around basically being like, we want to tell the unhinged stories, but ideally we do talk about, the growth from that and things like that too. So kind of trying to turn it into something good.
Nice. Yeah. I saw you just had Kylie Troop on.
Yes.
And I think we were supposed to have her on like the night before you guys recorded your podcast, because she was talking about the storms that had just come. She had to reschedule because of the storm.
Yeah.
She lost power and shit. So
she was talking about that. I didn't know that was y'all's podcast. That's funny.
Yep.
Yeah. I actually was working on editing clips from that right before I hopped on. So
nice.
Yeah, she sent a video, and we're like, yeah, we understand. Stop texting us and take care of your shit.
Right.
We get it. It's more important.
Yeah.
Somebody's floating away.
The storm, it was crazy here. It was really wild.
Did you get hit bad?
My place didn't, which is crazy because I live literally directly between, like, I'm right in the middle of the two areas that got hit the worst. Like, all my friends that live on, like, just 2 miles down from me on either side, like, lost power, everything, and we were just fine.
Shit, it's crazy how it does
You just never know.
Yeah.
I know.
So your podcast, now, when you started your podcast, that was just solo, right?
Yeah,
you didn't have the co-host?
No, and I actually started it technically before I was, like, fully doing stand-up. I was getting into podcasting first. I had taken, like, a stand-up class. And I moved here planning to start it, but I went through some shit, and I was kind of like, put it on the back burner, but I was like, okay, the podcast, I don't have to leave my house. We can figure that out. So I did it very low budget, alone, brought guests on then. And then I started, when I started comedy here, started kind of bringing the comedians on, and that was going well. And then I had Quinn on, and she's like my closest friend here in the scene. And just the feedback on it, like our rapport was really easy. And I was like, this is like exactly what I wanted in a host. Cause it's not really fun to do by yourself.
It's not. I don't get how people, especially where the solo ones with no guests, people that can just sit and talk for an hour to themselves, essentially.
I had no problem doing it, but I was like, there's no way people are enjoying listening to this. So I was like, man, I definitely had more fun when I had guests on. And then I was like, it's kind of stressful to always find a guest sometimes.
It is.
Well, I think it can show too. And there goes my next question: is why it brought you to bringing on a co-host? So we'll just skip that.
Exactly that. Yeah, I read your mind.
I appreciate it. So the podcast has been going about a year and a half.
Man, I guess I started it solo at the end of 2022, so it's been on a long time.
Wow.
I just was that was the other problem, is doing it alone. I was really inconsistent with putting it out. And now with like using studios and having a co-host, you like have to be a little more into your planning. So it helps us be a little more consistent. We try to put out 2 a month. So
I don't know if you know this. We went to a podcast convention to find this out. Consistency is the key.
Isn't that crazy? They keep telling us that about everything, but
we paid $2,000 to go to a podcast convention, and that's the fucking advice we got
from everybody.
Could have read that off Google.
I used to be a fitness coach, and that's about the basic advice that I could give everybody too. So
yeah.
So
they pay me thousands of dollars.
What basically we found out is we could go to any convention for any subject, and everybody will tell us consistency. So
yeah, and you know what's annoying? They're right.
It is true. Just keep showing up, right? Eventually, somebody will notice.
Such bullshit. That's the only hack. Is just doing it.
Yeah, we've been doing this for 4.5 years now, so
that's cool.
Yeah, coming up on episode 250 here in the next 6 months or whatever. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I definitely want to get some more episodes out. As I said, people have seen how long it's on, and then they're like, we're only in the 30s. And I was like, well, that's my fault. We've been pretty good once it's been me and Quinn. So, which is funny because I still do most of the planning and everything. It's just, I feel like if I have somebody else I know it's relying on it, it helps me.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. Gives you a little push.
Yeah.
So what was the push to finally give up, from what I heard, like 10 to 12 different career paths to now with the comedy? So what was that last push? And then we can maybe dabble into your other career paths that just didn't quite work out for you.
Yeah. The problem is most of them worked out. I just have like career ADD or something. I don't know. This is the first thing that feels like it's like, oh yeah, like if I had to do this forever, I'd be happy. And of course I picked the thing that made the least amount of money. But it's rewarding in other ways, I suppose. But
least amount of money for the most amount of work.
I suppose, she says. I
suppose. Most days I feel that way. But yeah, I don't know. It's a little bit of an amalgamation of things. I like started out, I was always really interested in just like comedy. I have a heavy like writing background in general.
Okay.
So like that's what I went to school for. A lot of my jobs were writing based too. And I just remember, this is so silly, but actually I was such a huge, like in college, I went to school in the age of like, you know, you guys get it, DVR, and like I listened to like I watched Chelsea Lately every night. Actually, I used to watch that show. My roommate DVR'd it every night. It was on 5 times a week, and it was like the only thing I watched religiously. But I was always way more into the stuff that was happening, like with the roundtable writing that they were all doing. And I started looking up all the writers from that show and realizing most of them were stand-ups. And so I went out and would see like Fortune Feaster, Chris Frangiola, and like Whitney Cummings and people like that when they were playing at like Funny Bones and little clubs like that. And I just was like, wow, this is really cool. And that's kind of like a little bit of origin. My like college roommate always says that she was like, yeah, I don't know if you remember this, but she's like, we used to watch that. And I was just like, this just sounds like the fucking shit you say all the time. And so it was kind of like something I like thought about, I guess, without thinking about it. And then I was in a relationship when I was in Nashville for a long time, and he was really into stand-up. So we like would go on drives, and he had like the Pandora Shuffle stand-up bits on all the time. Sure. And we were like, I was just listening to a lot. I really fell in love with like a lot of storytellers, like Mike Birbiglia, people like that. I really enjoyed that longer form comedy. And so I was listening to a lot of that, and he kind of talked about that. He thought about trying it. And so we were like, you know, maybe we'll like just sign up for one of these classes, like a fun couples thing. I thought sounded like a good idea. And he told me that I was too boring and unfunny to do stand-up. So that was going to be his thing. So COVID hit. the class got canceled. We broke up like a year later, and I kind of took the class out of spite.
There you go.
Perfect.
Revenge
I
class.
fucking loved it. Yeah, I loved it.
Did he ever take the class?
No.
Fuck him. Yeah.
Yeah. So he never did it, to my knowledge, and I took the class, and I had the instructors and like the people in the class were all like surprised that I hadn't done stand up before. We had to like sit down. I remember our first exercise was like we had just 5 minutes to write on like some topic he gave us, and then we had to immediately just like go in the mic and do what we wrote down. And most people, like most of us in there, had never done it, and they all thought that I like brought it with me.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I was like, okay, maybe there's like something here. I've never had stage fright. I feel like that helps me a lot.
Okay.
Like I'm very comfortable being on stage. And so, yeah, I was just like, I was already thinking about moving to Austin, and my instructor was like, you've been talking about Austin. He's like, I think you should go, and you should go do stand up there. That's like where people are going for this. And I think you should do it. So I said, fuck it. And I did it.
How long you been in Austin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did you move?
I got here in July 2022.
Oh, okay. So you were early then.
Yeah. So I think the mothership had been open just a few months when I got here.
Okay.
And they were all starting to flood in. Like I was in the open mic circuit, like right around, I got here right when like Cam Patterson just got here, like people like that.
Yep.
I was like at open mics with him and stuff. So we all kind of were in that like initial mothership wave.
Wow. Yeah, it's a cool class of comedians coming out of Austin.
It's been really cool, and most of the people are really nice. It's fun to see like the things happening for people here, and it keeps you having a little bit of hope about continuing it yourself, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
So, what was your first time at Mothership performing? Was that, we can backtrack into why, but was that with Dave Attell?
I'm trying to think. I had gotten on. Which order did that happen in? I got on the Mothership open mic actually the night before I got on Kill Tony.
Oh wow!
And so I got on their open mic, and I felt like I didn't do very well. I think it wasn't like where you're like, I bombed, but it was just like and I kind of had a crazy like. I was across town, and I had a friend sign me up because I was like, I fucking sign up every week and never get pulled. I was at a different mic, and I was like, fuck it, you're there, just throw me on there. And he like called and was like, hey, they pulled your name, you have to be here in 20 minutes. And so it was like pouring rain, and I'm like running to it was a mess. So I think I just was like not in the headspace.
Yeah.
And then I got pulled for Kill Tony the next night, and I was like, oh fuck, now this is gonna happen again. But that was my first time, obviously in the bigger room. They do the open mic in the smaller room. My first time there was on the Kill Tony stage. And then, Dave Attell asked me to come do the show with him 3 days. He invited me on Kill Tony, and then I did the show 3 days later with him.
Yeah. How amazing to be, you're 4 months into comedy at that point. And in what a lot of people consider the GOAT is asking you to do a guest spot on his show. That's incredible.
Yeah, it was surreal. Like that's like I feel like I blacked out on like honestly on the show. Like
makes sense.
And it was just a compliment to me because like I was a big Dave Attell fan already, anyways. And like I obviously had watched like roast stuff forever too. So and Jeff was my other judge, and he had nothing but nice things to say as well. And even just getting through that without Tony ripping you apart is good. I think the closest thing he did was make fun of me that I used to be a bodybuilder. So it was really cool. I like am baffled still that it happened 4 months in. Like I was kind of like I could quit now and be like that was enough. That was sick.
I saw a picture of you from that night, and you're not only Attell, but you're standing there with Segura and Ian Fidance, who are two of the funniest people on earth.
For real, like I walked in the green room, and it was them, and Ron White was in there.
Oh Jesus!
I was like, what the fuck? Like I was like, what the fuck am I doing here?
Am I in the right room? Wait, what?
Yeah.
So how do you get over that when you walk in and you see all those legends sitting right there? And of course, your first thought is, do I belong?
Yeah, that was definitely the hard part. I think I'm grateful. I worked, like I said, in a lot of like music and radio stuff. So I've been like, I used to have to help sit in and do social media for interviews with people like Garth Brooks and like people like that and stuff. So I think that helped. Like I didn't have, it's like I can keep my starstruck internal. But the imposter part was like, that's definitely probably the quietest I ever was, like sitting in that group. I was just like, don't fuck up. Don't say something stupid. Like, don't like,
right.
And they were all so nice. Like, I think Dave thanked me for being there like 7 times. And I'm like, fucking thank you. Like Tom, I had like a very long conversation with Tom about like how the way specials are changing and Netflix and all that stuff. And like, he was super nice. And, you know, it was crazy. I had no idea Tom was even gonna be on the show until I walked in and he was in there. And I love Ian and Jordan. So that was really cool to like, you know, it was awesome. They were all super friendly. It was great. I mean, I did 5 minutes. And I'm happy with it. I think people always ask me like about that. And I'm like, I don't, it's hard to say. And I'm sure like, you know, you've heard a lot of different comedians say this as well, is like, if I could go back and do it now, I would prefer that, obviously. Like, it's like for being 4 months in, it was fine. It went fine. That's a hot room. They're all excited to fucking be there. You know, like everything's on your side. You have to really fuck up, I feel like. But I'm just like, man, I wish I could like have that 5 minutes again. Like, so.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Are you, well, how much had you been signing up for Kill Tony at that point when you got picked?
People hate me for this. That was my third time I signed up.
Okay. Yeah. Do you go regularly still?
No. So I actually, I didn't go back for a little while just because I was like, okay, that just happened. And then like that was in, I guess, I got pulled on Memorial Day. That was 2023. Oh, okay. The episode ended up out at like the end of June. They were like behind on episodes. And in October or November, I started a bartending job a couple nights a week, and I bartended every Monday. So it was kind of, besides Kill Tony, there's really like, that was my least, I like one of the least show busy nights was Monday. So I was like, all right, I've been on, I had the greatest thing that I personally feel could happen to me already. Part of me is like, I don't really want to go back and ruin it.
Like, how do you top that? How do you top that whole, you know, interchange?
Like, and it's blown up so much more now that sometimes I'm like, man, I'm just about to start a new job now, which, LOL. But I'm about to start a new job on Monday, and they're phasing me out. I'm going to stay at the bar a couple Mondays left. But I was like, man, maybe I'll go sign up again if my Mondays are free. And then I'm still just like, I don't know if I want to like taint it, you know?
Yeah, you did. I mean, you had a very good minute and a very good interview. So, and that doesn't always happen. Obviously, it's which part was more stressful to you, the minute or the interview?
I think the interview, which is crazy because that's like the part when I was nervous about signing up, people were like, you know, telling me, you know, because I was like, I'm so new to comedy. And, you know, it's crazy because obviously the show is sensationalized now. So there's people that have never even done comedy and stuff. But I'm kind of like, I see all the hardworking comics trying to get on there for a real shot. And it's like, I didn't want to like insult that, you know? Yep. And so I was like, I kind of was really nervous about my minute. And everybody was like, Kylie, you're such like a personality. You talk to anyone, and like I have had a lot of very interesting weird shit happen to me. Like I've had a lot of careers. They're like, your interview is going to be like fine, but I think it was just like, is it going to be interesting enough? Or like, you know, and it's a little bit of like what you have to talk about, unless you just are one of the like wacko people that just brings something up for no reason. Like it's kind of, you have to be led there by the right questions, you know?
Right.
So I think I was more nervous about that. Like I felt pretty good about, I worked on that minute, like so much every time before I knew I was like with signing up for Kill Tony. Yep. And so I was like, I had practiced that every time I went just in case I got pulled. So I felt pretty good about that. And I did, like I said, I don't know. I have just that blessing of like walking out there at that point. That's definitely the most people I had ever been in front of. And I like looked at like that I was just like, and I'd gotten advice from another comic that was just like, don't look at the panel. Like when I come out there, like I had no idea who was even sitting in those chairs, who the judges were. And I was like, I'm not fucking going to look over there and even see what comedian's sitting there until I'm like done, until I'm done. And so I think that helped.
Then take it in, right?
Is that a piece of advice that gets thrown around the way? Because I'm surprised how many times I see comedians that finish their minute and then look over and go, oh shit!
Right?
I didn't even know you were here. So
I don't know. I was told that by one person, and I don't know if I've heard it from anybody else. But it wouldn't surprise me, or if that's maybe just something we all collectively do subconsciously, just because that's part of what's intimidating is them. Like, you know, most of us, if you are a practicing comedian, getting on that, not just like an audience rando. You know, we do rooms all the time, so it's like I was just like, it's just a room, it's just another room,
right?
Like,
because the opposite
whenever you're
happens
sitting there
too. I've seen people come out, look at the panel, and then they seem a little hesitant with their jokes, and they just don't. It doesn't flow so nice. So, and
for me, my like dream guest judge would have been like, other than Dave, would have been like Whitney Cummings or something. So if I would have looked and saw her there, I probably would have been like, fuck, you know. So.
Oh yeah,
that's perfect. So, how in the exchange, how did the bodybuilding come up? Did you bring it up, or did they?
I think they asked what I did for what I do for work, and at the time I was phasing out of running that business, and I was doing copywriting for other fitness coaches. So I mentioned that, and I think that was the segues. I was like, I used to run my own fitness business and be a bodybuilder, so now I just write the content for other people that do that.
Okay.
And yeah, so that kind of I think was the segue for that.
All right, and
so I was catfishing people.
no.
So, but that's a big thing to get into bodybuilding. And commitment, and then out of it again. How did that transition go for you?
Not well.
Oh, we don't have to talk about it if you don't want to.
No, it's fine. I'm so open. It's a weird thing. It's I got into so I was a competitive powerlifter for a few years first. And then I started personal training, and then it was kind of like in the early emergence of online coaching being a thing. And so I was taking some clients online while I was also training in gyms. And I was just like trying to do both. I really wanted to quit the retail job that I had at the time. I was also teaching on top of that. I was teaching college English. So I was like, and I wasn't making any money working all that shit. So I was just like, you know what, fuck this. And it was actually the same, to be fair, the same boyfriend who said I couldn't do stand-up was like, well, you work out all the time. What if you just got paid for that? And I was like, yeah, okay. So
he had one good idea.
He had one good idea. So I decided to kind of throw myself into that with some people that like I followed and asked questions, and started an online business. And about, I think 10 months into doing both online and in-person training, I just took the in-person out entirely and bet on myself. That was at the end of 2018. And by 2020, I was doing six figures. So it was really great. COVID fucked everybody, but for me, it was awesome because a lot of people didn't know online coaching existed till then.
Mm-hmm.
But I started bodybuilding in 2018 as well. So I was training for that. And my first show was kind of like, but then I got like very seriously into being like, okay, I really love that. Again, I like just the being on stage part. So all this feels connected in a way as well. And I went really hard for the next like 3 years to do the show in 2021. And at that point, running a business that was entirely fitness related and doing bodybuilding, it was kind of just like, that was my whole life.
Yeah.
And you can't really have a life as a bodybuilder that's not that. Like, I couldn't do anything social. Like, to that guy's credit, I was probably a nightmare to date. Like, it, in that regard, I was just like, you can't spontaneously do anything. You can't go out to eat. It's, I couldn't drink. Like, I couldn't do really anything except that. And it kind of just made me hate it. And I finished that show, and we had like broken up right before my show as well. And again, this was the stand-up disser to me. We had been together like 5 years. And so I kind of just had a little bit of like a mental crash out, and my business was struggling, and I was like over the fitness thing. So I just had to kind of step back, and I was trying to still run it for like another year. But I'm a very, like, if I'm not passionate about something, I just like cannot give a fuck. I really struggle with that. I don't know how people like are in just shitty jobs they hate. Like, I can't, once I don't like something, I'm just like, all right, there's something else to do.
Yeah.
So I just kind of phased myself out and have been kind of free wandering since then till I found comedy.
Okay. But it was that being on stage as a bodybuilder. Was there any other careers that you did that you were on stage?
Are you asking if she was a stripper?
I'm roundabout way. I'm kind of getting there.
No. But
I didn't
bodybuilding
want
is
to come right out and
basically,
say, were you a stripper? I'm kind of classy.
bodybuilding is basically stripping, but with an eating disorder, and the dance is less fun. So yeah, it's the same.
There you have it. That's a perfect way to sum it up.
It's the same heels. We don't take our tops off, but they're just as small. And it's I had never done anything before on stage. Like I said, I taught college English, so I was used to like talking in front of people, so that didn't bother me. I just have always been like I love doing karaoke, but I can't fucking sing. Like, I've always been like, I just love to perform. I've always said I would be great as like a professional like lip sync battle person, or like a professional hype woman. I like attention, and I like to be in front of people, and I like to like entertain people. So I just didn't really know what avenue to find that in, and then turns out people just wanted to listen to my bullshit, and that was the avenue.
You know what's better thing than to get paid for your bullshit, right?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Get paid to go on stage and have therapy sessions in front of a bunch of people.
Well,
that is what it feels like sometimes.
Yeah.
So I know you can't talk about dating anymore because you're in a relationship and it's boring. But back in your other days, you have a boyfriend now because you learned from all your red flags, or?
I think so. I think that's what's working with this one. Finally, I think everybody in my life thought that was never going to happen. Himself is a little bit like he's super supportive of stand up, which is a huge green flag too. That's hard to find, and he comes to all the shows and listens to me talk about everybody else's dicks, and he's just like sometimes between people that I know that introduce themselves to him and are like, oh my god, thank God she found somebody normal. And like listening to me, he's like, I'm starting to wonder like what's wrong with me. Like, he's like, what am I missing? Like, have you just not revealed this like crazy part of you that made all these people so awful? And I was like, I don't
maybe.
know. Yeah.
So have you talked about his dick on stage yet?
No, I don't have any jokes about him yet.
Okay, but I hear you say yet.
Yeah. Oh, he knows it's coming.
Okay. Well, that was my next question. Is he worried about it? Not his dick, but about a joke about him.
If he is, he's a good liar because he says he's not, and that's something I dealt with dating here a lot. It was like, me and Quinn talk about this a lot on the podcast. It's people, it's one way or the other, which is weird. They're either like so afraid they're going to become a bit, or they're like obsessed with becoming a bit.
Yeah.
And it's weird. Like I had a guy one time that I just had like a one night stand with, and he was like dropping me off, and he was like, "Oh, is this going to go in like one of your little sets?" And I was like, "The fact that you think I'm even going to think about this ever again is crazy." Like,
but now
humble yourself.
It kind of is now in one of your bits now. Now you're doing
it is, yeah. So, but I knew that was gonna be more hurtful for him to ride home thinking that was the case, because he was like a huge comedy fan. It was like one of the few male chuckle fuckers I think out there.
Do love that word.
I love
I do love that word.
If I were single, I could see being a chuckle fucker. I could see being into it enough to
Wait, there's not enough men out there representing. So thank you for that.
Yeah, your women are just not.
So what you're saying is, I just need to go to female comedians from now on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we talk about this a lot. We had I don't know if y'all are familiar with Heather Keith. She was just won the Netflix as a joke roast battle and stuff. She was on our podcast and she was talking about this, and she was just like, the men that like hit on, Kylie talked about it too. Like the men that hit on comedians after shows, like it's not what you want. Like she had a guy come up to her after a show and he was like, your self-deprecating humor was so nice to hear because it made me realize that you would fuck me, somebody like me. He was like, oh, she hates herself, so she would sleep with me. She has no self-worth. And she was like, that's not how it's a joke.
yeah, that's really not right.
I don't think that guy's getting laid much, I'm guessing.
No, but he had a hope for just a bit.
Yeah,
he really thought that was going to land.
Yeah.
Okay, so that one didn't land. So what is a good pickup line to a female comedian?
Man,
help a brother out.
I'm trying. I can give like lists of things not to say. I don't know if I know what to say.
He's good with that. He knows what not to say.
I know those already.
Learn from experience.
Doesn't mean I don't still say them, but I know what not to say.
Yeah, I think like, I don't know. For me, like just somebody that's like I think like with female comedians, I think we already have to deal a lot with like it being like put down on us, and like, we're in a male dominated industry and things like that. And I think a lot of men in the wild, especially non-comics, and I think this is why a lot of comics end up dating each other, is even though this still happens between us, you at least have like a little bit of like, they get it. It's kind of like, I think finding somebody who is not belittling that you're doing it, or like constantly wanting to be like, oh yeah, I could do that, or like I could get up there, and like, I don't know, it's just there's a lot of like, I hear from a lot of the women in the scene diminishing of it that I don't hear the guys really get as much. Or it's like, that's what I said, we talk about, it's like, how many dating apps I would open, and I took off that I was doing stand up off the apps. Like it was just, people just being like, oh, I'm probably funnier than you, or like, are you even funny? Like, do you know Tony Hinchcliffe? Like that's
you're not the first female comedian to say that they just took. Yeah, they don't mention that part.
Well, I always felt
dating.
like I should be be transparent because I'm like, it is a difficult thing to date. You know, I've dated, I remember when I was trying to be on the apps, I rescheduled on a guy like 4 times because I was like, sorry, I just got a spot today. Sorry. I got like,
Sure,
sorry, I
yeah.
have to probably push this back. Like, and it's, you know, it requires a special type of person to be patient about that. And so I get it. So I think that's, it's not necessarily what to say. It's more like what to do. Like if you can be patient and like, just be like, no, like that's your thing. Like, you know, fucking get after it and be flexible with that. And, you know, if you want to go to the shows and like support them, if they're cool with that. I know some comics don't like their partners to see them, but
I was gonna say how many when did you allow your relationship? When was the first time he saw you on stage? How long had you been dating?
So we had mutual friends before this. So he had actually come to a show of mine before we were ever dating.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he had seen me like back in January before we started seeing each other in the spring. And then now he's only missed like 2 since we started dating.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh.
Yeah, he's got to be sick of my jokes. But
has he ever critiqued a joke of yours? Like
they're still together? No, he hasn't.
You're right.
No,
nope.
he actually he brought up yesterday that he was like, I don't know, he said he noticed actually he feels like over the last like few weeks or something that I've been like a lot more even loose on stage than I already normally am, like more comfortable and stuff. And I was like, I don't know, maybe I'm not depressed anymore or something. But I don't know. I didn't notice it. He's like, I don't know if you've noticed. He's like, it was already good, but he's like, I just feel like it's getting better. So it's just been sweet. And maybe he was just trying to get laid, but you know, he doesn't have to try that hard. So.
Yeah, we will say and do things that, but I would imagine, I mean, it's natural, right? You're 2+ years into it now. I'm sure you are, you know, feeling better on stage and feeling more confident in your jokes. And
I think it had to do with that because of their love that he's giving her. That's why he felt more comfortable.
I think that's what he wanted it to. I think that's what he wanted the idea to be.
That's trying to get laid part.
Wow.
Because my response was, I was like, well, I've been a lot more frequently booked lately, and obviously the more you're on stage, the more frequently, the better it feels. And he was just like, I guess it could be that.
That helps, yeah.
Thanks for taking my mojo.
Right. I was like,
so you also you run a show in Austin, New Faces of Austin. How'd you get involved with that? Because that seems like a really cool one to be involved with. Obviously, you're seeing the new up and comers all the time. So
yeah, it's really fun. So Eddie Lursa actually started that show here. He ran it for a couple months, I think 2 or 3 months by himself. And then he had me on the show, and we honestly hadn't really interacted a lot. I don't spend not in a dissing way. I don't spend a lot of time at mics anymore unless I like have something brand new I'm really trying to work out. And even then I'm thankful to have longer sets now where it's like, I'll just work it out in the middle of my like sets instead.
Sure.
I'd rather do it with a room. So I wasn't at a lot of mics, and he was just here like as a new open micer, and he was just somebody who like I could tell hit the ground running, just hustling hard as fuck here, and I respected that. And so I talked to him a lot in the green room, and we were kind of talking about my background and stuff like that. And I don't know, he just liked something in what I was doing or how I sounded, and he was like, hey, I actually could really use help with this show. So I came on co-producing with him, and I loved the concept. So I think that was part of it, as I was just kind of giving him props for that, because there's so much booking that happens based on, it's like either people's followings or like, it's hard, especially when you're either a new comic, it's extra hard if you're even just new to a scene, to kind of like break into those networks. Right.
Yeah.
And so it's like, there's some funny people that are here or moving here that are just like not getting stage time, or there are some people who are maybe not that funny, but have potential, and they're not getting better because they're only at mics. And it is hard to get better when you're only ever performing to other comics or 2 people,
sure.
And so it's like, sometimes we're providing people an opportunity to fuck up, which sounds weird, but it's that you need that,
Yeah.
And so that was kind of his whole concept of the show. And I like just really agreed with that, thinking about, when I first got here, and like, I was fortunate that there was a couple comics that like really took me under their wing, and that I am a more like sociable, extroverted person, but a lot of these comics aren't too.
Yeah.
So they even have a harder time getting integrated. And so, yeah, he kind of like built the show around that concept of just being like, we pick people at the mic that's at the venue. So at Roscoe's, they do a mic every Wednesday, and we just kind of talk to Roscoe's, and they kind of let us just take it over. It's not like our mic, they still pick the list and stuff, but one of us hosts it pretty much every week. And one of us is there every week. And we I hate to use the word judge, but we judge the mic.
Sure.
So
of course.
Yeah. So we sit through the whole thing, and best set of the night gets a spot on the show. So other than our 2 headliners, everything is booked from that mic. So it's one of the fairest shows in Austin. It's not like there's tons of producers here that it's like the benefit of producing a show is other producers will put you up if you put them up.
Sure.
And not everyone loves it, but I like that ours is like, that doesn't matter. It's like you come there, you do well, we put you on the show. And it's, there's not really any bullshit or like having to like shake hands the right way. Like obviously if you're an asshole, we probably don't want to book you, but right. Like it's, if you do well and anyone, it could be your first night ever doing comedy. And if you're the one that got the biggest laugh in the room, you're doing our show,
Oh, wow.
So it's
a nice outlet for them. Yeah.
So it's cool.
I'll put you on the spot a little bit. And if you don't want this in here, I can edit it out, but I'm curious to some names that I haven't heard, that we haven't heard, that we should hear, that, from this show that,
From the show, we just booked him again. So I'm gonna say he's gotten picked like 3 times. Avery Hutto, I think, is really underrated. He's very funny.
Okay.
He also, like, I've just done, like, he's very funny at, like, just doing sketch, like, just improv things he would come up with whenever we were, like, filming sketch stuff before. It's like, he's just a funny guy and a really nice guy. Owen Gallivan is a good friend of mine, very funny. Austin Young is one of the funniest people, and he's booked quite a bit now, but he's won spots. I think he's one of the funniest people in Austin. Definitely, I'm trying to think who else has been on a lot. We've had Blake Connolly on. He's good. I'm trying to think. There's somebody else.
She doesn't even think girls are funny. She just keeps listing guys.
Oh, come on.
Ouch.
What sucks is that there's just not a ton of female turnout on the mic. And
sure.
we try to kind of even it out and be like, hey, we're really looking for a girl. But if a girl doesn't have the best set, she's not coming on.
Right.
Yeah, you still got to put the best material forward.
Funny wins,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. And it's like, honestly, as a woman too, that's my thing is I'm like, I'm grateful to get spots, but it's annoying to get your spots and everyone be like, oh, well, we really needed a girl. Like, so it's like, I don't want to diminish that either. I want you to get the spot because you got the spot.
Yeah.
And
do you think about that, and do you just say move on with it when you get a spot?
Yeah, we're all so used to it. It's like it's noted. It's when we look at a show lineup almost every weekend, and it's always like 10 fucking straight white guys, and then you're like, all right, they definitely just threw me in here. Especially like sometimes you'll be added to a chat that like it's definitely already booked and been going for a while, and then all of a sudden you were added in it, and I was like, oh yeah, they got to Showtime, and we're like, fuck, we have no girls. So it's like it's one of those things. It's I kind of just roll over it, but it's around. It's the same. It's either they just needed a girl, or who are you fucking to get that spot? It's the same shit.
Do you feel like you got to prove yourself every time you go on stage?
I used to. I don't now because I'm just like you can think whatever you want about it. Like they can think that, and they're going to be wrong once I do well in the room.
Yeah.
So. It's like I had a experience with that. The comedian apologized to me. Well, you leave this nameless, but I posted kind of like a sexier photo on Instagram, and he like publicly commented on it and was like, "Do you want to do my show?" Like on that photo, and I was like, kind of like it was like really the first time I had a little bit of a spiral about it. Like I was just like, should I delete that? Like you know what I mean? Like I was that kind of made me feel weird. Like. And it's somebody who I knew like had a girlfriend. Like, we're not close enough friends for it to have been fine, but like I know him, so I was like okay. And my roommate was the one that gave that. She's like, message him back and ask him what the date and time is, because then he looks like the fucking asshole if he was just being an asshole. Yeah. And so I was like, when is the show? And then he gave it to me, and I showed up there, and I did really fucking well on that show. And his co-producer and him were standing there, and he was like, hey. We kind of been having a conversation about that. Did you find that inappropriate that I left that comment? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, and his co-producer was like, I fucking told him not to do that, like blah blah. And then he was like, you easily had like the second best set of the night at that show. Yeah. And next to Dylan Carlino, who is blowing up right now and is I think actually he's not only won it, but I think is the funniest person in Austin. And what
better redemption is it to just kill, right?
Yeah, that's my thing. And I appreciated that he did bring it up and was like, he's like, I was just trying to be funny. Like he's like, I didn't really think about it until his co-producer, I guess, had said something to him. And I'm like, sometimes just people are just they're not being malicious. They're misguided. So
yeah, men, we're not always malicious. Most of the time, we're just stupid. We're just dumb.
That's what I wanted to say, but I was trying to be nice. But.
Yeah, no, we really are.
You can tell us we're dumb.
It's the same way with trying to book female comedians for the podcast. I always I don't know the best way to reach out. Like, like you send a DM or do you like, I don't know. I don't know.
Apparently you don't respond to a sexy photo. That's what you don't do.
Don't do that.
But they're all the photos are sexy.
That's true.
Like, what am I supposed to do?
It was definitely like a suggestive one. And that's my thing is I was like, if they're going to say so, I don't care. I just kind of I really admire like Nikki Glaser. She's just like really leaned into that instead. Yeah. And that's my thing is it's just like, you can either let it like get to you or you can just fucking roll with it. And she's done it. I mean, she has like a fucking special cover where it's like the mic is the only thing hiding your body.
Right.
Like, and I'm just like, she's like, they're going to all say that I only talk about sex and that I'm a slut. So I might as well just do it. Like,
absolutely.
Fuck it.
And she does it.
Kill
awesome.
It. Yeah. I'm about to go see her in 2 weeks. I'm excited.
Oh, nice.
Nice. Yeah.
Okay. Well, speaking of that, what does the monsters turn out to just be trees mean to you?
The monsters turn out to be just trees. So that's a Taylor Swift lyric.
Swiftie,
which I know.
I am a Swiftie. I have that. I have that in common with Glazer as well. Big shameless Swiftie.
And my 9-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm 33 and I started going to see her when I was 15. So you
have seen her live?
I've seen her a lot live.
Nice.
I wrote my master's thesis on her.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so people always try to get under my skin, and I literally do not give a fuck.
I don't care whether I like her or not. It doesn't matter. Yeah. She is a genius, and whatever she's doing it right. I wish I could do it in a 16th as well. It's not my jam necessarily, but
yeah. It's not for everybody.
Her hustle is.
It's not, and I didn't ask you that because but you picked that to tattoo on your body. So what did that song mean to you?
I have a lot of anxiety, and I actually have a CPTSD diagnosis, and so there's a lot of things that are like my inner demons that I'm dealing with a lot. And that's kind of like that song particularly is talking about that aspect in relationships, which is where that shows up for me the most. It's where a lot of my PTSD is from. And so that is kind of like the idea of just like most of our fears are self-inflicted. Like, it's like, you think there's a bunch of monsters, you're like running through this woods from the monsters. And it's like, it's just trees. Like it's in your head, it's becoming something bigger than it is. It's something scarier than it is. And the whole time it was just a tree, and you made it
worse for yourself.
Thing. Yeah. And just like kind of not letting yourself hold back from experiences because of that fear and like those demons that are there.
I love it. Yeah.
So my next question is, are all your tattoos just Swiftie tattoos?
No, but I do have 5, technically.
Okay.
Some of them are a little more like, this is just a disco ball, so it's like people would not know, but there's a lot that have like inner layers, but there are 3 that are lyrics, yeah.
All right.
I have like 15 tattoos, so.
But the Mirror Balls is a song of hers, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like there's some that are a little more discreet and not just lyrics, but
I got.
But that's only a third
also
of my
a Swiftie.
I was gonna say he's on it.
Well,
that's only a third of them. The other 10 of my tattoos are unrelated, so it's okay.
Okay,
that's a good percentage. 33%. That's a good percentage.
It's not bad.
So what's your favorite tattoo other than a Swiftie tattoo?
Other than that, my favorite, I have on my hip, I got a really big, it's like an elephant head inside of a lotus flower that's like all integrated. I got it in Thailand.
Oh, wow.
So when I was in Thailand, it was kind of my like representation of the trip. And it's just beautifully done. And it was one of the most like scary tattoo experience, like most uncomfortable, gross looking places you could have been. And it's the most beautiful artwork I have. So
that's awesome. Was it done with a tattoo gun or was it tapped?
Yeah. My boyfriend at the time did the tap one, but I did just like the regular gun tattoo. But it took so long, and his art, like his line work, is just incredible on it. It's very detailed.
Wow. So. Yeah, I would love to go and get one tapped like that. That would be so. Why were you in Thailand?
We just went for a month.
Oh wow,
it was fun. Yeah, it was my first month after I stopped personal training and was fully online. And the guy that I was dating, he used to take a big like trip like that every year, and he didn't take one the year before because I didn't have the money, and I was like, I really want you to wait till I can go. And Thailand is like so cheap.
Oh, yeah.
And you can have a great fucking time. Like I was just making like enough to go. It wasn't like, oh, I had to save all this amount. It was like, once you can pay for the flight, I was there for a whole month, and everything that we did, including like excursions, meals, stays, everything was, I spent $2,000 for a whole month.
Wow.
What?
Yeah. Not counting the flight, but
Holy shit.
And here I thought
Yeah.
he said you were just made the decision of, okay, now that I'm done bodybuilding, what food do I want to eat for a month?
Thai food. Yeah.
yeah, no, I was actually still in my bodybuilding era when I went. It was just like I was in like an off season, so I didn't have to be super strict. And we basically like had no plan. I had everything in a backpack, so we like went. I just booked the to and from flight, and we just hopped around. So I walked so much, and like, you know, their food there is actually, it has way less crap in it. So
Mhm.
I didn't like gain weight like you would on a vacation either. They like give you balanced meals. But what's funny is I actually had never had Thai food before I went to Thailand.
What?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so
That had to be a bit of a culture shock.
body never having Thai food,
Yeah.
your body was probably, you know, like you said, pure and bodybuilding.
Oh, yeah.
How did it react to your first meal in Thailand?
Oh, well, there's already this thing called traveler's diarrhea. So that's, it's amplified when you've never had it, I'll tell you that. But
Yeah, I've had it for 20 years.
Yeah. What hurts more is that was my first introduction to Thai food, and I had to come back and eat like Americanized Thai food.
Ugh.
Yeah, that was actually harder, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I recommend it to anyone. It's one of the coolest things I've ever done.
$2,000 for a month. You spend that in a weekend in Chicago.
No, right?
I know, that's what
And
I'm
we
saying.
have.
You go on like a beach vacation for 3 days, you're gonna rack that up just in
Right.
hotels and stuff. It was crazy. That was including like we did like the elephants thing, and like it was literally everything that we did. That's what I spent.
That's wow. That's
It's
wild.
wild.
And
It's not the
tattoo.
flight.
And a kick-ass tattoo.
You think
Yeah,
you
it
could get,
includes my tattoo. Yeah.
would the $2,000 include a lady boy for him?
It might. It
Okay.
might. You might have to like have a couple less beers than I had, and then you can get your ladyboy.
There you go.
All right.
All right.
Probably
I like it.
Probably going to book it later.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
Do it. It's worth it. The flight is the most expensive part. We saved enough
Sure.
credit card points to be able to do like a BOGO flight, but
Yeah.
without that, it's so cheap once you're there. And
Are you
it's like good stuff. Like we kind of you have to navigate it well. We did a lot of like hostels and stuff too, but a lot of those had private rooms that we still booked and everything, and they were nice.
Wow.
So yeah,
That's awesome.
that's an adventure.
There you go.
it was.
All right. Awesome. So, now, are you still involved? We jump around, and that's just the way we do it.
That's all right.
Part of another podcast, right? The Not Your Quick Fix podcast.
I'm not
We never-
anymore. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I left that podcast last year. It was hard to do.
Oh.
But it was hard. It was hard to leave. That was the health and fitness podcast that I had during while I was involved in all that. And my co-host on that is Kara Goss. She's an excellent online dietitian, and she is one of my very best friends. So I think at the end of it was kind of like we were still doing it for like that bonding bit of it more than I was really invested. Like, you know, we tried to keep it to where it was that, but it's just like has gotten really deep into a lot more advanced stuff. And as the longer I wasn't doing it, it's just, I felt like I wasn't really contributing much more than like a little bit of comedic relief and banter,
Sure.
which she did like having. Like, it was nice. Like, and people really liked our dynamic. But I was just like, I kind of felt like I was holding her back with like, my schedule with comedy and bartending means that I'm like, you know, I sleep half the day and then doing stuff at night. And she like has her shit and normal routine. So scheduling was tough. And I felt like I was kind of like doing her a disservice and had to back up. And she was very understanding. She plans to reboot it though. So any health and fitness interested people on here, check it out once she gets that back up, or go listen to old ones. It was fun.
Okay.
I probably should. It would be. I could use a dietitian. That would
Well,
be great.
You know.
She's online, so she's out of Pittsburgh, but she's online.
Yeah. I've tried
I
it
could
before.
use it again now. Oh, I went so hard the other direction. I didn't like blow up by any means, but I'm so unhealthy right now. I'm like, man, it's crazy that used to. It's like I literally my boyfriend's always like, this is crazy that this is what you used to do. As I'm like fucking on my 6th shot of the night. I'm like, all right. I always say I'm making up for it.
If you were had to be so disciplined food wise, consumption wise, what's your guilty pleasure now? I mean, what is the one thing that you miss so much that you can have now?
Yeah, I feel like I got a lot of that out like in the first few years without doing it. So it's not as crazy, but it's always has been and will be pizza. I'm such a pizza person. And that was something that I like. It was the hardest. There's a lot of I will say the restrictiveness of just not having that ability to kind of like really indulge or go out to the things was fine. But like I ate in a way that like I still ate a lot of good meals, and I wasn't like a clean eating bodybuilder. We were macro based. So I still obviously had to eat a lot of like whole foods and stuff like that to keep my body fueled. But I was able to like still make a lot of really good tasting things, and I could go to a restaurant and still like eat something that didn't have to just be like salmon and asparagus. But pizza is something that was like very hard to fit because there's really not a lot of nutritional benefit for the calorie amount. So that was always like the thing that I grabbed. I think I don't even want to know how much pizza I ate my first like 6 months after I quit.
So just
gorgeous.
Just any pizza? Or are you a thin crust, a deep dish, or just doesn't matter?
You know, I think pizza is kind of like sex. Even when it's bad, it's still pretty good.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You know, I heard that once, and I've stuck by that. I'm not picky about it. I have preferences, but you know, it's still going to be a good time. And I am more. It depends on where it's from. I like an average crust. Deep dish is good. I won't gravitate towards that. Thin crust, I'd say I go more with just like a solid hand tossed most often.
Okay. All right.
But
so, do you have a favorite pizza?
And before they dated, her boyfriend was gravitated to the hand tossing as well.
Wow. I thought you were saying classy.
You don't have to stay
I'm sorry,
classy
that's
with
the
me.
first thing I thought of when you said that, and I had to somehow incorporate it. I apologize.
Don't apologize. I'm a comedian and not classy. You don't have to be that classy. It's fine. Yeah.
And I can tell you that, you're not funny, is what she's telling me.
You're not funny, no. Yeah.
I did not say that with my words.
I will.
It's okay.
I will.
It's okay. In my head, it was funny, and that's all it matters.
But we are not funny. We don't try to pretend that we are stand-up comedians. We are not comedians. We are just podcasters. So we don't. We just like talking to comedians.
Just comedy fans. That's cool.
Do you have a favorite pizza?
My favorite pizza of all time comes from my hometown, Fort Recovery, Ohio's local bowling alley. Actually,
nice.
And I've never overhyped it to anyone. Like I just brought my boyfriend there, and he was like, he's like, you really have talked this up. Any friends that I've brought from out of town, everybody leaves there and is like, yeah, that was as good as you said it was.
Well, if you ever
shout out Miracle Lanes in Fort Recovery, Ohio. I don't know why anyone would ever go there, but
for the pizza.
If you ever come back to Appleton, we are taking you for pizza.
Yeah,
because we have the best pizza in the world in good old Appleton, Wisconsin, a place called Stuck's Pizza.
I wonder if I got that when I was there.
It is so good. I've been going there since I was 18 years old.
Yeah.
I'm now 51. And
their thin's good. Their deep dishes, they're all good.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. No, I think that when I was in Appleton, the pizza I got was just from like one of the like by the slice kind of New York style places.
You probably went to Sal's.
Sal's, I did. You're right. I did. That is what it was.
Yep. Which is great drunk.
It's a great 2 a.m. spot.
I was drunk, yeah.
So then it's best pizza in the world.
Yeah, we've had a lot of Sal's slices at 2 a.m.
The best other pizza I've ever had, like this isn't obviously something I can do recurring, but neither of those are now. But there's this place in Crested Butte, Colorado called The Secret Stash, and that place has probably the best, like, not my bowling alley pizza I've ever had in my life. But I'm a big, like, Donato's fan. If I'm doing thin crust, I like Donato's. I love Jets if I do deep dish. I got my places for what I want. So,
sure.
Yep.
I love that it's a bowling alley, though.
You would think a place in Colorado called Secret Stash, you would think it'd be a weed place, not a pizza place.
I think if I can recall, it might be themed that way. I haven't been in like 10 years, so I don't remember. But
that's not oregano. That's
right. Weed pizza.
It might have been. Maybe that's why I thought it was so good. I was just stoned.
So again, not that you're part of the music scene anymore, but you had such a good time. Mile Music is coming up in August, and first weekend in August. It's just a great time, as you know.
Yeah, so, it was a lot of fun. The people were really nice. The music was awesome.
Come on back.
I would love to. I'm actually doing Zanies in Nashville at the very end of July, so it'd be pretty back to back with that. But
nice. Yeah, we who'd we see at Zanies? And we were in Nashville. We went to Zanies. We saw Christina P. there.
Yeah, and Chase O'Donnell.
Oh, and Chase O'Donnell. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna be
and Dave Williamson.
It's gonna be my Zanies debut, so I'm excited.
Oh, nice.
When is that? Yeah. At the end of July?
Yeah, it's July 25th and 26th. I'm going to be hosting for Dylan Carlino.
Oh, cool. Okay.
That's a cute place.
So,
yeah, it's a nice club.
He's on his big come up right now, so I'm excited to do that with him.
That's awesome.
What else you got coming up besides your weekly show?
Yeah, so New Faces is only once a month. That one will be on the 21st, but I don't know when this comes out, but it's always the third Saturday.
This will come out next Monday. You are
okay. Cool,
yeah.
Perfect, just in time. Yeah, so June 21st, if you're in Austin, 7 p.m.
Awesome.
That's New Faces. My co-producer or co-host, I guess, and co-producer now, Quinn, and I, we just recently did the first run of another show, which was basically put on by Responsibly Unhinged. It wasn't a live podcast show, but we kind of mixed it as one. So we did a stand-up showcase, but we were on the stage kind of like as panel as the hosts, and we interviewed the guests after their sets about like their unhinged dating stuff. So we kind of like brought that podcast element to the show.
Nice.
That was unhinged comedy. We just had the first one. It was at the Velveeta Room, and it was awesome. Honestly, it's like one of the most fun shows I've been a part of. Like, cool. And it was as unhinged as we wanted it to be. And they booked us to do that again. We don't have it on like a regular basis yet, but we're doing that August 22nd, so that'll be exciting. Nice. And then, yeah, just other than that, I am just still doing a lot of dates. Like I said, I'm about to go to La Jolla at the end of June, and I'm trying to book some stuff up there. Hopefully the Comedy Store. That would be sick, but we'll see.
Nice. La Jolla. That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool area out there. Have you been out there?
I have just spent like an afternoon in San Diego once, like passing through. But yeah, we'll be there for a week. My little sister's getting married up there, so.
Awesome. Wow. Yeah. Very cool. It's a beautiful part of the country.
Hopefully,
yeah.
Hopefully it's all going good. Well, that sounds exciting. We'll loved having you.
Thank you so much for having me. This was fun.
Let everybody know where to find you. What's the best place to find you in the social stuff?
Yeah, I'm most active on Instagram. You can find me on kylie.kaiser.comedy13. If you miss the dots, I'll still pop up. Just look for Kylie Kaiser Comedy. On TikTok, I think it's the same without the dots. I am on there. I'm trying to be better about that. It's Kylie Kaiser Comedy 13. That's really the main two forms I use, so you can find me there. Responsibly Unhinged, you can find on Spotify, Apple, or YouTube. They're all on YouTube.
Yeah, definitely go check it out.
The YouTube's more fun to watch.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
Yeah.
yeah.
Being a video podcast, we definitely agree with that. Yeah, it's a fun podcast. So I'm glad I found it. So yeah.
Thank you. Awesome. Yeah, I'm glad you all found it and had me. Is that how you guys came across me? Was it Kill Tony or was it the pod or what?
No, I think I just, because of following comedians, I think that I saw you come up because of New Faces actually, and that's what drew me. I didn't remember that I had seen you on Kill Tony actually. I went back and watched it and was like, oh yeah, okay, because I've been watching since the pandemic, I guess.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I think it was the New Faces thing. I think I started to see that, and I was interested to talk to you because of that, because we love talking to the up and coming comedians. So
and we keep teasing that we're going down there.
Yeah, we are going to come and spend a week down there. So
well, if you guys come down, let me know. If it falls around the show, we'll get you guys some tickets.
Awesome, we'll do. We'll do for sure.
That.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This was fun. I'll see you guys soon.
Yeah, pleasure talking. All right,
bye.
Good night.
Thank you for listening. The tavern is closed for now, but we'd love to have you back for more fun next time. Seriously, though, get your asses out of here.